Yeah, so one of the foundations for any retail media network or commerce media network is obviously their audience and how they're being able to identify their audience. So part of what we've been able to do with the power of our identity through our first party data and their first party data is really to help them identify more of their file, be able to reach them and activate better. And AI really helps power that. It allows us to take all of the data signals that we see across all the data sources to really take the volume of data and turn it into actionable identity.
What's the interplay between AI and identity in terms of allowing for more effective targeting and more effective measurement in retail media?
Yeah, absolutely. So retail media, the power of it is really about measurement and the ability to connect more of your file to all of the impressions that you're serving, whether it's on your site or across the web or on other channels, allows you to actually close the loop better and be able to create a much tighter layer of all of the closed loop measurement that you're doing. The key part about identity, though, is that when you have great identity, it makes your data that much more valuable. Retailer data by itself is really strong, but without a strong identity plan, how you activate, that's where some retailers can struggle. Now AI comes into play where it allows you to actually take all those data signals and use them in real time. And what Epsilon has been able to do with the power of our first party data is to be able to activate in real time, be able to allow you to identify more of your customer file, be able to reach them when they're in market using all the data signals we see, and then also really importantly be able to actually stop targeting them as soon as they purchase because of that real-time signal and because we have a much more complete view of the customer than any other identity solution that's out there.
Austin, wanted to see, we're here at Cannes, what big ideas, what big innovations are you most excited to talk about, to hear about, again, with respect to retail media?
Yeah, so a lot of the buzz is around in-store, and it's exciting because it's giving a lot of the retail media networks specifically additional assets, additional owned and operated inventory. I think the key part of where that will grow is really back around measurement. It's how do you actually prove that the ads are driving a lift? How do you bring those and make those native? One of the key areas that we think is really interesting is also how do you connect the dots across all those touch points? Now that you've got an additional set of data, a completely different ecosystem than what your typical on-site or off-site experience is, and measurement is going to be really the key driver of that. At the end of the day, the AI part that we bring to the table allows you to actually connect those dots together across many different signals without having to be a long process, and that's where we think that we provide a lot of value to retailers.
Great. So, is there anything retail media can learn from other industries? It's fairly established at this point, but what can retail media learn from everything else that's out there?
Yeah, so I think overall retail media is, as you said, fairly established, but it's still a really fast-moving, evolving space because most retailers are at different points of the evolution cycle. Some are just now getting started. Some are actually in those adolescence years, and some are a lot more mature. They're bigger platforms. They have big teams. They have a lot of revenue, dedicated product. I think one of the key things that I always look at is how does retail media evolving along the same path that programmatic did 10 years ago? Because I think that's a key parallel that's important, especially with how important offsite is to retailers and retail media specifically. So I would say that a lot of those paths around how do you make sure that you've got the right standardization, how do you build out trusted identity, how do you build out trusted inventory is a really key part of the equation.
The pace of innovation in retail media has been enormous, as you've just described. Are there any other capabilities that you think will most disrupt or enhance the retail media space?
Yeah, absolutely. So influencer is a big part of where I think a lot of the RMNs are leaning into. It's a whole new source of actual live people, and it's an interesting source for content and creative. And the other part that I do think is really going to get a lot more attention finally is creative. There's a lot of opportunity to build the targeting, to build the measurement, to figure out the ad units, and sometimes we forget that at the end of the day, the message still needs to be right, the product fit needs to be right, and I think as a lot of the tools out there can better personalize ads, at Epsilon we have the ability to really bring that message to the right person at the right time wherever they are across the inventory, and that includes an influencer now with our partnership with Influential.